Good evening, folks. I'm smoking my um, Falcon pipe, and in it I've got some Samuel Gareth 2013 limited edition. And that's the ashtray that's just got off the table. Be all right, though. I've been thinking back a bit today to when I first met Carolyn and when we were courting. Occasionally she'd come over and stay all night at my house if the parents weren't in. Just to sleep over and just to be friends, you know. But anyway, we were walking over Otley Bridge, and there used to be a shop that sold all sorts of things, but they had chocolate machines outside, and Carolyn fancied a bar of chocolate. So we went up to the machine, touched it, and the front fell off, and the machine had clearly been robbed. Now, there'd been a policeman past us earlier on, so we thought the best thing we could do is report it at the police station, which is just over the bridge we'd crossed. So we sort of crossed the bridge, went up to the desk and said, you know, we'd like to report that the chocolate machine had been broken into, and that the front had fallen off and there was no chocolate left or anything like that. And the police desk sergeants, thank you very much, somebody will come out with you and just have a look, you know, and a policeman accompanied us out. And as we were walking behind him across the bridge, Carolyn said, quite loudly, I hope they won't want to know about me. You can imagine what my tummy did. Sort of, oh God, we're following this policeman. And Carolyn's saying, I hope they won't want to know about me. Anyway, he took us to the chocolate machine and suggested, to come back, you can write, you know, we'll just take a report. And by the way, young lady, what about you? So, you know, she sort of said, well, I'm over here, you know, my parents don't know about it. And I'm staying with my boyfriend, you know. And he said, no, we don't want to know about that. You know, that's all right, we won't tell anybody. Well, anyway, we got to the police station and we went in and he said, I'll take you to an interview room. Walked in, tried to switch on the light and it wouldn't work. So Carolyn said, put your hands up. So he sort of looked at us and he said, why? And many hands make light work. She doesn't have to get me into some trouble. Luckily, he took it quite well and sort of made a sort of and looked at me as if to say, is she mad? Well, she wasn't mad, but she was a bit sort of getting up to all sorts of things. And we were one day walking through the park, and in Otley there's another bridge further down, and it's one of those new modern concrete structures. And she decided she wanted to walk on the outside of the bridge, where there was a little ledge, which was all right, until she got to the post that she had to reach round. I was on the other side of the bridge, walking along the edge, and I'd reached round okay. And then suddenly I heard this voice say, help! And there she was, hanging on by one hand and swinging precariously above the river. So I had to sort of leap over and grab the hand and haul her up and pull her over. Sort of, you've saved my life type thing, which is quite good because it meant I got an extra kiss. We were always seeming to do odd things, like we were once in a restaurant and we'd ordered coffee and we were sort of sat there, and there was this lady. It was a sort of cafeteria type in a shop, and she was cleaning the tables, and Carolyn said to me, "I'm not going back. You can't make me go back." And I started picking her up on it, and I said, "Well, you've got to go back, love. You know that you can't. You're not well enough to come out yet. You know." And I said, "I know you don't like the mental hospital, but you've got to go back in." And we noticed the lady who was rubbing the tables was getting closer and closer and spending longer and longer listening to what we were saying. And Carolyn said, "Well, I didn't mean to hit him with that axe." And I said, "Well, that may be, love, but, you killed the poor man." By this time, the lady's very close and listening intently. And we went on for about 10 minutes like this, me trying to persuade Carolyn to come back to hospital and her saying she wasn't going. And in the end, we just sort of had to get up and go out. So Carolyn said, "Well, all right, I'll let you take me back." And as we walked out, you could see the woman's face, big eyes and stuff, watching what was going on. So, she's been a lot of fun when we were courting. Even more fun after we got married, but that's probably going to be another story. But it was quite strange that the relationship built up very quickly. But we were always doing silly things. Like, I'd pretend to be blind and she'd be leading me. And we'd be sort of crossing at the zebra crossing, and she's cheerfully leading this poor blind boy across by the hand. And then when we were halfway across and all the traffic had stopped, I'd suddenly open my eyes and sort of lead her forward, or we'd be limping across. It's amazing how you can annoy cars by one of you limping very slowly and the other one helping you across. And at first everybody's sort of quite, poor man or poor woman. And then when you stop halfway across and just walk normally, you get hooters blowing and people leaning out of the cars and calling us all sorts of names. But anyway, those are one or two things that we did. But to get into the nursing home in Leeds, they had a Christian fellowship. So the excuse that we made was that I was going into the Christian fellowship and we'd be allowed in. And then we'd go up into one of the rooms and I'd tell fortunes. It's very easy to do. You have a pack of cards and you get one of the nurses to shuffle them, and then you ask them to divide it into 4 packs and to choose 2 packs. So there's 2 packs left over. And you say, the 2 packs that are left over are your past, and the 2 packs you have in your hand are the future. What would you like me to tell you first, your past or your future? Well, everybody says, tell me my past. And there are things that we've all had in our pasts. You know, it might be a teacher that was special to you or that was cruel. So you'd say something like, turning the cards over, oh, there's something here about school. There was a teacher that had a big effect on you in some way, and you'd watch their faces, and if they sort of lit up, you'd say, somebody you liked especially, and you could gradually ease them into revealing more and more. You know, you might say, was it a woman teacher? You know, and you're away. Once you've told their past, you can tell them anything about the future, and they'll believe you hands down. But I eventually had to stop because the fortune telling started to come true. One of the things that I told one girl was that 3 cards she drew. Well, she drew the cards that Doc Holliday had in his hand before he died. And Michael Campbell, one of the speed record holders, had that hand. And the next day he was killed trying to break the speed record. So she drew these cards. And I sort of, oh, this is quite serious. Somebody you know might be involved in an accident. It could be quite a serious accident. And I went on a bit. I can't remember exactly what I said. But the next day, her brother was seriously hurt in a car accident. And there were 1 or 2 that happened like that, so I decided to stop. So that ended one of my journeys into the nursing home anyway, because I certainly wasn't going to go to the Christian fellowship there. It was a very odd Christian fellowship. It was run by a gynecologist who used a foreign Bible and, you know, did a Bible study. Very strange. But Carolyn used to use her Russian Bible and follow it in the Russian Bible, which everybody used to be fascinated by. We did go to the Chinese Christian Fellowship for a while, and that was lovely because it was a totally foreign church. They were a Chinese community in Leeds. And there was even a lady there who had bound feet, as they used to do it. So she was quite old when we met her. But her feet were very, very small. They were like a child's feet. And she used to shuffle in on clogs, and she'd wear a traditional slipper on each foot, a traditional shoe for people who had bound feet. And we'd all stay for a meal afterwards, a Chinese banquet meal. But during one of the studies, one of the acts of worship, one of the guys happened to mention the Opium Wars and the Boxer Rebellion in connection with them. And he said, you know, it wasn't a rebellion, it was a patriotic uprising. And to get somebody else's view on what you've always thought of in history was very interesting and gave you a whole new insight into how people viewed God, because their view of Jesus was as a Chinese man, and some of the pictures of him were as a Chinese baby being held by Mary, a Chinese mother, and on the cross, Chinese Jesus. I found that very fascinating. I'm going to end there because I'm probably boring you to death with tales of my courting habits or things that went on in my courting. I'm just trying to think whether I can finish with a joke. I don't know whether I've told you this one before. It was about the man who was doing research on birth control. And he wasn't having much luck. First house he called at, the woman said, "No, not interested, no, in giving you any information. I'm a Roman Catholic, I don't believe in birth control." And the second house, the woman opened the door and she had about 10 kids. So he asked her, said, I'd like to discuss with you, birth control. We're doing a research study. And she, "No, not interested. You need to talk to her at the end of the street." And every house he went to was, no, talk to her at the end of the street about methods of birth control. And in the end, he got to the appropriate house and he rang the doorbell. And the woman came to the door and she was about 6'7", very tall, very beautiful woman. And he's, "Madam, I'm doing research on birth control for the government and I wonder if you'd be prepared to answer a few questions." So she said, "Oh, yes, come in." So he goes in and he says to her, "May I ask what method of birth control you use?" She said, "Well, I use a box of crisps, a box of sort of, tacos or something like that." And he sort of looked strangely at her and said, "Well," he said, "I don't quite understand how a box of crisps potato crisps, can be a birth control." And she said, "Oh, that's easy." She said, "My husband's 4'0" and he stands on the box of crisps when we make love. And when I think he's coming, I just kick the box away." Sorry about that. Anyway, may you be richly blessed. May your God, whichever God you believe in, care for you and guard you and keep you in your faith. And may he never let you go. And may we all, believers and non-believers, live our lives to the best of our ability. Those of us who do not believe in God have a duty to be good citizens, to live our lives with dignity and with generosity and with an outpouring of love. God bless you and keep you.